All right, guys, welcome to another Monday Motivational Zoom. And of course, we're coming off of Mother's Day weekend. Tomorrow will be the second payday of the month. So that means that it'll be any bonuses and the auto bonus. And that's always that's like such a good day for you to share some of the things that you've accomplished, some of the things that you're able to do. And I want you to take it back clear to the time that you just began this journey, right? So something that a lot of people, I think, when they get started with Lavelle, right? Or any network marketing company in general, really, whenever they get started, like I always like to find out where people's goals are, what their dreams are, and what they ultimately want to achieve, especially the promoters, because that kind of tells me the roadmap of what they want to accomplish. And then my customers, obviously, we want to find out what it is that they want. What do they want to achieve? How can we help them and framework our follow-up and our posts and everything about that, right? So Jackie and I were talking this morning, really about how we could help you guys, and coming off of a couple months where we had some bonuses, and then we just had like the BOGO right at the end of the month, right at the beginning of the month. And then guess what? Right now, there's no bonuses. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. You can't work for the bonuses, okay? You can not only work your businesses when the bonuses come, because if you do, you will never achieve those big bonuses, okay? Your team will think it's all about you. It's just what you're trying to achieve. And in fact, that's not it. You have to focus on your team's success. So you want to continue to focus on how can you help those people thrive for free? Maybe that's all they want to achieve. Okay, great. Then let's help them get the most Thrive credits possible. Last night's Zoom, Stacy had talked and Lisa had talked about making sure that you got your story out. And there were some things that we wanted to kind of add to that whole process tonight. And Jackie actually, she has a couple things that she's going to be putting in there. And I think she actually templated, I don't know, Jackie's way more organized than I am, of some different breakdowns, right? Because you guys, here's the thing is that your story, the wonderful thing about it, of course, we want to have that day 1, day 3, day 10, and we want to send that into Lavelle, right? But some of your stories are 5 years old. Some of your stories are longer than that. Some of your guys' stories have a huge transformation. Maybe it's a weight loss transformation. Maybe you were like negative Sally, and now you're like super positive, and you've completely flipped your mindset, and you're a completely different person today, right? You cannot just judge your journey based off of what you see somebody else's accomplishments are. All right. Because then you're downplaying the things that you're going after. Maybe some of you guys don't want to drive those big fancy cars, and you don't want to go and live in $1 million houses. All right. I'm a simple girl, and I literally don't want any of that. Like, I love to travel. Don't get me wrong. And I definitely love my Range Rover. Okay. Because it's completely paid for. It's completely paid for by Lavelle. But I have no want to live above my means. In fact, I want to shop cheap, and I want to save money, and I want to invest, and I want to leave a legacy for my family and carry it on. So everybody has what looks different, right? But as we obtain these higher goals, sometimes we become so unrelatable to the people getting started, and they think they can't do this. Right. So it's important to share our story in pieces, but also to continually share your story, because who you hit today, 10 days from now, you might have a totally different audience that is watching you, depending on what platform you're on, depending on what market you're targeting, depending on what it is that you are about. Okay. So you need to remember that. So I actually am going to let Jackie kind of take this part for just a minute, because she has some stuff that she wants to talk about reusing your story and who you're trying to reach at each time.
You see if it fits you first.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me mute everybody out real quick. I'm not sure how that happened. All right, Jackie, you want to kind of take over for just a minute, since you kind of This was your baby that you wanted to break down.
Hi guys, happy Monday. Okay, so something that you will hear this a lot in like just self-development books and everything. If you guys want to get good at selling, the best way to sell is to tell stories, right? It's just literally sharing your story. Sharing my story, I mean, this is something that I learned how to do very, very early on. And then, like, I was hopping on Zooms just like this, where I would hear the leaders say, like, hey, go share your story on the fan page. I'm like, what on earth is that? Right. So it could be a little bit overwhelming when you think about it, right? You have all this excitement, you want to get it down on a piece of paper or something, or it's just something, there's an urge, right? You're like, damn, I'm having such a great time, right? Like, I know that Thrive is helping me. How do I put this into words? And I came up with a little, like, something that we do on our team. We do an opportunity call every single week, you guys, and there's a new speaker every single week. Let's see, 1 second. Amanda's writing something. And yes, Amanda just put a big old long thing of how to submit your story and everything. So we're going to lead into that too. But every single week we do an opportunity Zoom. And guess what? People are not scared to hop on and share their story because I have literally made it so easy for them. I'm like, hey, I have a format. All you have to do is just like, put your story into this little format and you'll be good to go, right? I can definitely share this. I can share it into the Dream Team page once we're off the Zoom. So you guys can find it there. And I use the same format whenever anyone is wanting to tell their story for like an opportunity call, a 2-person interview, whatever, right? A local, it's like perfect, right? I always tell people for this particular kind of story, you want to keep it to about like 5 to 7 minutes because it's going to be something that you will be able to share. Something, it's really powerful, you guys. Sharing your story is powerful, but this is not the only kind of story that I want you guys to master, right? There's so many different ones. There's your little elevator pitch that when you see somebody at the grocery store, hey, how are you? What is that sticker? You give them a little piece of your story. I mean, there's so many things, but master this one because this is the one that really, I mean, as your story evolves, right? You're going to put new things in there. Right. Nobody wants to know your entire life story. So you have to really condense it down and make sure that you keep people engaged. Okay. So the first thing I start with is whenever, like, if you're doing this for a local or a call, is basically introduce yourself, right? Name, where you're from, how long have you been thriving? What do you do for work? Do you have a family? Like, do you have any kids? And then describe your current daily lifestyle briefly, right? So what you can say is like, hi, my name's Jackie. I'm from, Vancouver, BC. Where am I from? I was going to say Vancouver, California, because I'm actually from California. And then I would say something like, I've been thriving for 3.5 years. I do this full time. These products completely changed my life before the opportunity did. I now stay at home with my 3 kids. And whatever your daily lifestyle is like, right? So that's basically how you would introduce yourself. And then after that, you would go into who you were before Thrive, right? So in just a few sentences, describe who you were. You want to talk about your old lifestyle. You want to talk about your old mindset, right? Just in a few sentences, because you can say like, I had lost myself before I found Thrive, and I had put on a lot of weight. I just wasn't happy with the person that I was seeing in the mirror. I was just really in a dark place, right? That's a few sentences that people can kind of grasp, right? They'll relate to that. They'll be like, oh man, I know that I felt like that. Next thing, after you describe who you were before Thrive, right? How did Thrive find you, right? This could be also, what made you curious, right? However you want to word it. I always say, how did Thrive find you? Because I just like the way that sounds. Anyways, who did you see it from? What caught your interest, right? Because what catches your interest might be what interests somebody else, right? But people need to know what it is that is intriguing about Thrive to other people, right? You might hear stories, well, like, I really just wanted it for the energy. If someone hears about it who's just thinking that it's a weight loss thing and they hear that you want it for energy, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know it was for energy, right? So you're literally like, when you share your story, it's opening up more things to whoever's listening what is Thrive, right? Amanda says, and why did you start Thrive? Yeah, so how did Thrive find you? Who did you see it from? What caught your interest? And basically, right, why did you start? I always, and another part about story is your belief, right? I always like to kind of sneak that in there as well. Like, how long did you watch for, and were you a skeptic? Because a lot of people who are watching us, right, or they're hearing these stories, if you just say like that Thrive is like 100, like, everything's like amazing about Thrive, and you were never a skeptic, they're just going to think that you're selling them a product, right? So I always like to say, I was the craziest skeptic that there possibly was. I did all this blah blah blah, like I put it out there because if you say you're a skeptic, they're going to be like, hey, yeah, I am kind of skeptic. It's going to break those walls down, right? And then, once you do who you were before Thrive, how did Thrive find you, and like your belief back then, right? Briefly share your and highlight your Thrive experience. So I have this all broken down. You guys will get the whole thing, right? When it comes to sharing, talk about your first week trying it, and then talk about your aha moment, right? Because your first week, most people, I mean, if you were a day one thriver, oh my God, I envy you, right? I probably was not a day one thriver. It took me like a couple days, but everybody has that aha moment, right? And if you guys ever listen to Paul Gravett, Paul's our CEO. He always says, tell your day one, day three, day 10, right? You guys hear him day one, day three, day 10 all the time, right? My day one, day three, day 10, I'm like, I remember what my day 10 was like, right? So I'm not really like a bullshitter where I can just kind of just be like, oh, this was my day 10. Like, I'm not, right? So I'm going to tell my real story. So I love to just say, like, this is how I felt the first week. And this was my aha moment, right? This is when everything freaking changed for me. This is when I said, I'm not stopping these products anymore. And that's the message you really want to get across to people, was just that, kind of like that feel, felt, found. Well, in the beginning, I wasn't sure what I was feeling, but then I had that aha moment, right? So always sharing that aha moment in your experience. And then, of course, right, we cannot just share our Thrive experience just as how it makes us feel for, like, because there is an opportunity behind it. So it's very important, you guys, to share what made you want to share this experience with other people, whether what was it, right? I wanted to earn some money on the side. I wanted to get my products for free. Whatever it is, right? What has this opportunity done for you? We can't just set it to the side and just be like, oh my God, I lost weight. I'm feeling amazing now. I'm not drinking any more coffee. But even that's amazing, right? Like, that stuff is like, okay, like, give me what you got. But why do you want to promote? What made you say yes to promoting, right? Because you definitely want to make people excited about that they know that there's an opportunity there, right? We're not pushing them, like, you don't have to be a promoter here, right? But you want to share what made you want to share it, right? And then you just wrap it up. So this is why I'm sharing it. And when you wrap it up, tell people what you love the most about Thrive and what you're looking forward to. Okay, so that's also a big key point of just kind of like, I remember the first time I ever told my story at a local that we did here in Vancouver. I was so excited, you guys. And I didn't have a format like this. I was literally just like, hey, I'm going to share my story. I'm super excited. And, maybe I had went on for a little bit and vomited, but people can tell I was excited. But what wrapped it up for me was I was like, you know what, I'm going to retire with this company. And people were looking at me like, holy crap, you're so young and you're already thinking about retiring with this company. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that you want to talk about, that you're looking forward to, right? So, end up the story and like, it's like super exciting and you're done. Now, another thing, when it comes to sharing your story, you guys, like, I have an outline, right? But when you actually fill in your blanks and stuff, if you ever get sidetracked, like, sometimes I'll like keep little notes and stuff. If you ever get sidetracked and like, oh my gosh, I went off on a tangent, I was talking and I forgot where I was at, always keep bullet points so you can just move on to the next topic, right? And it flows so well. Even if you lose your place in the middle of a story, you just move on to the next topic and then you go, right? So this is more for like sharing on an opportunity call, right? A 2-person interview or a local, right? 5 to 7 minutes and you're done. I always like to encourage people to kind of, put it out on paper, practice it once or twice and see how long it takes them, right? If you're running over like 5 to 7 minutes, cut out some things. Like this is something that, you know, you'll learn in like you would have learned in school in English to not repeat certain things. So take out things that don't really need to be there and stuff, and just master your story, right? Keep it exciting, and keep it like moving, right? Anyways, okay, so there's that. Amanda, I see you. I see lots of comments too. I can't wait to go and read them all.
I know. It's because, you know what, guys, I'm the queen of being sidetracked. Anyways, on my Zooms knows sometimes I go off into a tangent because I get super excited really, really quickly. And to be honest with you, you know, just like Jackie was saying, I called it a crack patch, you guys. I was like a firm hater. And guess what? I utilized that in my story. I was like, I thought it was a joke. I thought for sure it wasn't going to work. I thought it was going to make my heart explode. Like, I say all these things because it was literally what was going through my mind. And it's literally what a lot of people think whenever they're thinking energy, they automatically associate it with caffeine. So I like to, you know, clarify that and talk about that. And pretty much every promoter that I've ever had join me, or any customer that's ever joined me, they have had the rundown of me saying exactly that, because it's the God's honest truth. I was lucky enough to be a J1 thriver. Okay. And by noon, no, not even noon, maybe 11 o'clock, the day that I started thriving for the first time, I was live on my Facebook, excited and happy and pumped up and sharing and talking. I couldn't talk about Thrive. I couldn't talk about it yet, because I had to resign from my previous company because I did have network marketing experience. All right. Because I was with another company for 3.5 years. That's part of my story. Right. But what a lot of people didn't realize is that I had been building a solid market. Okay. For 3.5 years prior to joining Thrive. So they say, oh, Amanda flew through the ranks and I hit, you know, 200K in 9 weeks. Well, guess what? That's because I started with 200 friends on Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Zooms. Okay. I got on calls almost every single night of the week. I was listening to them literally while I was passing medicine. And somebody actually said something today and it hit me. I hit the top of this company working full-time night shift, you guys. Lavelle. All right. I hit the top of Lavelle in 9 weeks. Yes, with previous experience, but working full time, raising 2 kids, running from softball practice and soccer practice and all over God's creation. And I was in a very terrible place mentally. All right. I had lost my dad and I had not been able to recover, and finances were just terrible because he, you know, didn't have insurance. So I'm telling you this because I didn't start from a place of, oh yeah, like everybody was waiting on me to fail. Okay. Because I had left a previous company and my business had gone backwards in that previous company, right after my dad died. The month he died was the first time I ever lost rank in that company. And it was absolutely tragic, but there was a lot of things that just didn't align with me anymore. And I made a decision to go back to working full time. And people looked at me like, oh, she failed. So then when I joined this, I was scared that people weren't going to take me serious. So I had a lot of, I'm going to prove it to you that I can do it type of thing in me. Right. And I want to encourage you guys that if you have a lot of skeptics, you know what? It's time to like make them eat their words. All right. It's time for you to prove it to yourself that you deserve this. Why can't you, if each one of the people that you have seen be successful has done it, right? I didn't know how to work social media at all. I learned. I went to a lot of free resources, YouTube, Google. If I didn't know how to post, I would literally Google exactly what it was that I wanted to know how to do. I would go to Pinterest and I would find checklists and cheat sheets and ways to help me reach a new audience. Today I posted, and I want to include this in the storytelling process. I posted a PDF, an entire book of the 45-second presentation. Okay. And the reason why I posted that book, that you literally can go to the Dream Team page, click and download, all right, and read it on your phone as you want. You don't even have to purchase it. It's the whole PDF of the book. It is really going to help you learn how to tell that story quickly, like your elevator pitch. All right. And how to get to the point, but also to listen to what it is to the person's talking. So you don't want to do all the talking. They said that a little bit last night as well. You want to make sure that they still feel somewhat in control of what it is. I mean, after all, you're talking to them to find their solution. All right. So you want to make sure when you're telling your story, how is that relevant to the people that you're talking to? How are you reaching that audience of people? If you're at a Thrive event, a local, they already know what they're there for, right? They already know what they're there for. But on social media, your audience, okay, you got to know who you're talking to. Who are you trying to reach? Are you trying to reach, okay, say, for example, I'm a busy mom. I have 2 kids. I am completely chaotic and all over the place. I love to inspire and empower people. I'm definitely ADHD. Like, I have all these different things, but the biggest thing that you're going to see is that I want to cheer people up. I want to make people believe in them. I want to show people that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is, that you can be successful. And that is something, like, it starts with your mindset first. So like, if you are surrounding yourself with negative people, then guess what? I am talking to that person that is negative, and I want them to speak positive to themselves. I want to get them in the right mindset. I want to show them that they can get off their couch and they can take over their health, and they can get their health back. They can get their happiness back, that they can go after their dreams and go after their goals. And like, that is the message that I am sharing, right? You see how excited I get and how passionate I get about it, because it's what I love. It is where, like, I thrive at. But when I started, guess what? I was like not posting the happiest stuff. I was like bored on a Saturday night. I was literally, a year prior to me joining network marketing, my husband had an affair. And I was in a very dark place. And a lot of my post was about betrayal and hurt. And even though I didn't broadcast that on social media, I was lost. I was very lost, and I was defeated, and I was working all the time, and I was missing my kids, and I was struggling. I was struggling big time. My car was repossessed. My house was almost going to go into foreclosure. I had little yellow notes on my doors. I was struggling. Okay. But I came in to my first business and I didn't skyrocket. I didn't zoom through the ranks by any means. I just decided that I was going to make it work. I was going to, in no way, shape, or form, lose out on my money. So I was definitely selling the products that I had. So I was focused on getting those samples out. And guess what? I had to talk about it. If you do not talk about it, you will not sell any products. You will not sell samples. You will not sign customers. You will not sign promoters, because if they don't know why they should join, this is all part of your story, right? So like Jackie's telling you about sharing your, Thrive experience on an online event, sharing your story. If you get on a call, if you get up in front of somebody at a local, but what about every single week? What could you share? Where you were and where you are now is a big step, just starting right there. How did you feel right before you got started? What made you decide to get started with this? What made you decide? So you have to think about, who are you trying to reach? Who are you trying to reach? And if I want to strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you guys that if you're talking to the same people over and over and over again, you're not going to sign anybody. You might sign a couple people here and there. But that takes me to my next topic that I want to add. I purposely shared your first year of network marketing. It's over there, whole PDF of the entire book. Nobody's got an excuse for not having it now. You need to realize that you're probably going to sign 100 people, and maybe, I don't know, 3 of them are going to work. 3 of them want this. All right. As you get better at this, you're going to sign more people that actually will stick around and actually want to work. Now, 3% of it, okay, doesn't sound the greatest. But I want you to think about the people that go out and say, I'm going to play for the NBA. I want you to think about the people that go out and say, I'm going to be a doctor. All right. Like, I want you to really think about, you've got to work to get to where you want to get to. Right. That's what I'm saying here. It's like, you've got to get up and you've got to practice every day if you want to go and be in the Olympics. You've got to get up every day and get a game plan together and work it around your life. Maybe that's why you are peeing and pooping in the morning. I don't know. Maybe that is while you are driving to school, you are listening to an inspirational call, some kind of motivational speech. Maybe that's when you, this is going to make me sound really bad, but I have the voice command on and I listen to TikToks. And guess what? Every single time that I want to heart it, I heart one, right? And I say, heart next, back. I want to listen to that again. All right. So like, I literally, like, I have the voice commands on my car and my phone sitting up on the thing, and I'm finding the content that I want to utilize. I am literally finding the stuff that I want to go back and I want to use as content. Or sometimes I'm listening to a call. Sometimes I'm listening to messages and getting back to promoters or customers, potentials, or team chat. And that's if I have service, right? So I'm only telling you guys all this because you've got to know who you're talking to and what is it and how can you help them, right? So if you've got to be adding to your market of the people that you can relate to, for one, because if you can't relate to them, they're probably not going to buy from you. All right. But you also have to, why should they want this? Why should they want it? And that comes back to, what is it doing for you? It's very, very important, you guys, that it's like Jackie just said, it's not just your story. All right. They need to know that other people are having experiences. And that's one of the greatest things about like the Lavelle fan page. If you introduce them to the Lavelle fan page, which you should, okay, because it's going to pop up on days that you didn't do your job of actually sharing something. And I'm not saying post a Thrive story every day. Now, listen, Paul will probably tell you to post a Thrive story every single day of somebody else's experience. I'm going to tell you that share some kind of story. Put it in your stories, put it in a TikTok, put it whatever, but you want to make sure you are consistent with sharing stories. Okay, not necessarily actually in stories, but putting it out there, whether it's you, your friends, your amazing results that you're seeing, whatever platform it is that you mainly focus on, making sure you know who you're trying to reach. Be intentional about adding new people that can relate to that. How can
Can
you
I
help
jump
them
in?
solve? Yes, go
I
ahead.
want to talk about recycling and stuff because I totally forgot. I just told you guys how to share a story for like locals and like events and stuff. But me and Amanda had this whole conversation earlier, just like about this, right? So when I first started, like, yes, I had a transformation, so I shared a little of my story, right? But I can't just post myself all damn day, right? It's not just going to be me, because then it's just like, oh my God, she just keeps trying to sell her body, right? Like, it's just, so what I did was I didn't have a whole lot of stories. I would see transformations, you guys. And I get this all the time. People will constantly ask, can I use that? Can I use that? I'm like, hey, Thrivers are super cool. This community, we're all literally built on like sharing each other's transformations and helping each other out. Like, you don't really have to ask, so just go ahead and share. But something that I absolutely love to do is if I see a really, really amazing transformation, right? I will go and I'll screenshot their caption and I'll like screenshot their caption and I'll put like paste it right next to it so they can see what that person said about their own experience, right? So you can do this however you want. If they're on Instagram, like basically I'll screenshot the transformation, I'll screenshot the caption, I'll put them next to each other like somehow, and I will post it, right? So that people can see that it's not just like you, they're going to hear and see and read whatever that person was feeling, right? So this is a really great way to share stories. If you guys are doing it on Facebook, there's a share button over there, right? And even if not, you can always post like screenshots of what people have written, right? So that's one way that you guys can share. And another thing that we were talking about earlier is that once you have your own story down, like it's important to really sit with yourself, right? And think about what your story is, right? I have that format where I can send it into the thing, but you're also going to have a bunch of different stories, right? Like I highly encourage you guys to share your story as much as possible, but at least every 10 days where you're really intentionally getting a post out there that is like, here's my story. And this story can be different, right? It's still you, but it's different. Like I have so many different stories about myself. I have the weight loss story. I have the opportunity story. There's so many different things. So it's like, who are you trying to talk to, right? There's the other stories of you helping other people, right? Changing people's lives, how that affected you, how it was not about you anymore. Like there's so many different transformational stories that you guys can share, and it's important to share them, right? Because then when people read it, they're like, wow, that's really inspiring, right? That's really inspiring, and they'll want to get in on something that's inspiring them. I see you, Amanda.
Yeah, no, I think this is great. And I want to I want to say this. Okay, so some of you guys are like, yeah, but I don't want to write my full story out and whatever, like, and post that every 10 days. I promise you, you want to. Okay. You want to, because the thing is that not all your friends are seeing your posts, you guys. Not all your friends are seeing your post. If you're just mainly working on Facebook, believe it or not, your friends, just because they're not liking it. I see people post all the time. Nobody's liking my stuff. Is nobody seeing my stuff? Well, guess what? You're probably not liking stuff. And you're probably not interacting with people, and you're probably not engaging in people, and you're probably not going through and complimenting on people. If nobody's seeing your stuff, either you're posting stuff that is not relevant, you're private, which, by the way, if you're running a business on a platform, you guys need to be public. All right. So get rid of that nonsense. Unless you absolutely cannot be public, at least with your posts that have to do with growing, inspiration. If you want to keep your kids private, keep your kids private. All right. Or keep it to only family and friends, whatever. But I'm just telling you, if you are utilizing social media to grow your platform, you need to allow people to be able to share your posts. You want them to share your posts. That's how you're going to gain new followers. You want people to be able to comment and ask you questions and message you. You want people to be able to see that. We just learned that. Some people just learned that this past Friday on the Flex Friday post. They realized that people couldn't comment on their stuff. People couldn't even, share their stuff if they wanted to. So that's something super duper important. So make sure that setting is on public whenever you are maybe posting an inspirational post, maybe posting your story when it comes to that, X minus something if you can't. And everybody has their private reasons. Nobody needs to get into that right now. Okay. That's not what we're talking about. I am just saying, make sure that you are being intentional with trying to get the most reach as possible. That's why your first year of network marketing, not only are you going to have a lot of people probably join you, or maybe not any join you because you never actually asked anybody to join you, or you never actually told people that they could join you or why they could join you. And, while you're thinking of the things that you want to accomplish, I want you to think about the things that somebody that might need to accomplish. Did somebody just get their electric shut off? Did somebody just not have any money to put gas in their car? Did somebody just need new tires? Did they just bust a rim? Because that happens all the time where I live, because we have potholes the size of Texas. Serious. But think about how the stories that you're already seeing in your timeline and on your page, how could you help that person? Right? How could you help them? And how could you frame what it is that we have to help them? So think about it like this. You see somebody talking, you see multiple people talking about summer and so forth, right? So how could you utilize the E60 challenge, okay, to help people that want to get in better shape before the holidays? You could share some of the Ultimate Thriver before and after pictures and how they could join our E60 group and how they could get started and get going. You could share with them every day how you're getting up and how you're feeling better and you're moving your body more, and the things or your own personal journey if you've already achieved it. And guess what? Maybe you aren't where you want to get to yet. your story still matters, you guys. I say this all the time. I was speaking on stage teaching social media at Thrivepalooza in 2019, and I literally had just had gastric sleeve surgery, and I don't know, I was probably around 260 pounds at the time. I was definitely not the, holy crap, she had a huge transformation. In fact, people didn't even know I actually had already had a huge transformation. But to most people, it was like, is she a thriver? Judgmental buttholes. But yes, there are people that are going to be like that. So if you have struggled with your weight and you are not at your goal, please know that every little ounce of growth that you have, going for a walk, getting in some extra exercise, moving better, feeling better, wanting to get out and play with your kids more, those are things that somebody on your timeline needs, that's craving. Not being able to sleep, having more energy, those are things, those are solving problems that people need. All right. And don't think you don't need to sell. The story will sell, you guys, but you have to tell it. You have to share it. You have to share what it is that's doing. So there are different things that you can go on like Pinterest and get content ideas for marketing. All right. Like Throwback Thursday, or you could do Thankful Thursday, and how can you kind of equivalent that, or Motivational Monday. You guys, I just posted a post that's been shared a couple times today on Monday. It's literally, it's my day, right? Today is my day to start fresh, to start new. And people really liked that spin on it. And so they shared it. And you guys, you've got to think like, how can you take something typical like a Monday where people like drag it and dread it? How can you be excited about it and show people that they can be excited about it too? I promise you, this is all in that storytelling. So if you feel like you suck at storytelling, seriously, go on to YouTube, go on to Pinterest, and find storytelling in whatever it is like that you're struggling in. Just type that into Google, type it into YouTube, type it into Pinterest. Okay. And I promise you, you're going to find some things, some tips and tricks that are going to help you. Just like Jackie said, with sharing every 10 days or so forth, get yourself your calendar out and actually put it on there. Reshare my story today. Today on my timeline, I saw 5 people talking about how they couldn't sleep. I really should talk about rest, whether you put it in your stories, whether you make, maybe a TikTok talking about it or something, or maybe you make a post just talking about how much better you can't believe, like you used to not be able to sleep at night and how much better you've been sleeping. And you don't even have to talk about a product, you guys. Don't even have to talk about the product. Just talking about how much better you're sleeping. And you can't believe you went from being up till 4 o'clock in the morning to now you're finally getting some rest. How? Guess what? Boom, you're in their messenger. Maybe you made a post in your stories and somebody just decided like, now they're going to ask you because you stayed consistent with it. They keep seeing you post this. All right, Amanda, I give. How can I get this? What do I need to do? Every time you go live, it's like it's hitting me. I know Abby feels that right there because she's told me over and over again. She was like, there's something today that made me get on your live. And thank God that she did. Okay. Because it's like now is the time. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. Now is that time. Let's do this. Let's change it, because unless we make the actions and take the steps to start changing it and trying to help them find a solution, they're going to stay in that same spinning cycle. All right. And sometimes people just need those positive, that positive outlook and that inspiration and guidance to get to where it is that they're going. So I think that's super important to get your calendar kind of down on sending that story, sharing that story. Also, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys to go live if that's not your thing. All right. But I am going to encourage you to push yourself and to maybe do a TikTok or to do a reel. If you don't want to do TikTok, you don't have to touch TikTok. Okay. Do a reel, or maybe do like a 15-second clip where you're just saying, hey, I'm taking my capsules. I'm doing the Snickerdoodle lifestyle mix day. My gosh, it's amazing. And I'm putting on my black label. Time to hit the day, get my day started, whatever. That's all you gotta say. And then people see you get your day started and you're doing zoom, 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 all kinds of different things. And they're like, whoa, okay. Like you weren't doing that before. They're seeing a change in you and your behaviors and what you're doing on a daily basis. I can tell you consistency is number one thing. And then making connection with people and being intentional with it. Like you will hear me preach that till forever. All right. When it comes to that. And then your new people, your new customers, you guys, they don't know how to share their story. You are going to have to guide them. So making sure that you're reaching out to them, making sure that you're saying, hey, listen, I know that you don't know how to do this. Let me help you because I want you to get this product for free. I want to help you achieve your goal and check in on them, see what it is, how are they feeling? What can we maybe alter to help you get that or give them some tips and advice and tricks? And I promise you guys, it'll help. It'll help. And then if you're not in like an accountability chat, I said this last week, you guys get yourself into some kind of chat of people that are working, that are doing things, not just one where you see a post and it's like, wah, 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 right? Get somewhere that there's life happening and people are moving and wanting to grow, because this time of the year, a lot of you guys are going to kick yourselves in the butt if they announce bonuses or something like 2 months from now and you sat there and you twiddled your thumbs and you wasted this time period. You're going to kick yourself, right? Because it happens. A lot of people will kind of like slow down because they're like, well, what am I working for? There's not anything to work for. Are you kidding me? Your residual income is plenty to work for. Trust that. Okay. It is definitely plenty to work for. Jackie, there was something else. I'm looking to see what it was that I sent you today that I definitely wanted to talk about tonight. Yeah, you guys, I put a post on there, my Thrive experience at Lavelle. It's over on the Dream Team training page. You can find it. Just typing in submitting your story and you'll see that. It also, hold on, I think I might have wrote it on this page here. She said the feel, felt, found, and I wrote that down whenever you said it, Jackie, because I don't think a lot of people know what it is. And if you do not know what feel, felt, found is, go Google it. After this call, literally go Google it, because you're going to have a whole lesson in itself of honestly teaching you. But it's like you felt a certain way. All right. Like, this is how I feel. This is how somebody right now feels. You felt that way too. And this is what you found. This helped you achieve helping them reach their goal. Okay. I kind of said it a little bit differently because my brain works differently, but that's literally what it is, right? I felt that way too, because this is what they're saying their problem is. I felt that way too. And I found this, and that's their solution. All right. And remember that people want to know what they're going to get out of it. So if you're not telling them what they're going to get out of it, if you're just trying to lose weight, but somebody else needs energy and you're never talking about that, you're missing a whole bunch of people. If you don't exercise, but we have something that is incredible for like pre-workouts, like, listen, you can admit, like me, I joke about, you can admit that, hey, listen, you guys know I'm not the biggest workout person. Now, I actually do work out, but I'm saying, like, maybe you don't, but you still want to share it. Share it in a way that you're sharing somebody else's. Like, man, this is what I need to work on too. Who wants to do it with me? Right? Bring people on that journey with you. So you reeled them in of how they can do it along with you, which is great with our customer group right now. Oh, go say it.
I read something today because I always kind of like pour into myself so that I have more things to talk about with you guys, right? But I was reading something today, and I'm a terrible reader, but I can look at books and I catch some like things and I get excited about it. And I will also go into like recaps on YouTube to see what other people are saying about the book, right? But one of the things I read today, or was it yeah, today, was that just kind of the power of the subconscious mind. Okay, so when it comes to like telling stories and all these things, I read today that people they what was it? Hold on, I took notes. Let me pull this up because I was like, a million miles a minute, like thinking of all these things. I was like, wow, that was powerful.
I
It
cannot even
says
believe you're
that
talking about this.
we act out of emotion and not logic. Okay, this is the thing that says I'm going to buy this. It's not the logical mind, right? The logical mind is the conscious mind that's rationalizing everything, right? But when you feel emotion, that's when you take action. Okay, so this is really important. This goes back to so many different quotes that we talk about, like, the knowledge on ice and all those things. We act out of emotion. So this is why when you guys share your story, if you guys are not capturing people's emotions, they're not going to buy, right? So make sure that you're actually sharing stuff that is going to make people evoke emotion, because that is when they will actually take the action to buy. Now, another thing that I was like reading in this thing, they were saying that 95% of our like thoughts and all these stuff is subconscious, right? We're mostly like, we're going out through our day. Most of the things that we do is subconscious, and it's your subconscious, right, that is going to take action for these things. It's not your logical mind, right? So all the questions like, well, how much does it cost and how much is this, like, those are not the things that make people buy. It's that they feel that they need it, right? I see you want to say something, Amanda.
It's so funny because I literally I was just having this conversation with somebody because I too had just listened to something super inspirational, and it had a lot to do with like your mindset and so forth, right? And this person just so happened to be having a lot of night terrors. Okay. And I said, listen, I said, I know it's going to sound absolutely crazy, but your subconscious mind, like even when you're asleep, okay, if you're just talking negative all day long to yourself, all the things you couldn't achieve, all the things you couldn't do, all the stuff that you can't have, you don't have, and how it's not fair and all this crap. And guess what? When you go to bed at night, you're probably not going to sleep super restful. All right. So what if instead you turned on some meditation music, or you turn on a soothing sound, or you read something super positive, or listen to something positive, or you wrote and spoke out loud some positive affirmations every single night before you went to bed? What do you think eventually that would do to you? Do you believe that eventually you would start to shift your mindset, and every time somebody else was pecking in your ear something negative, eventually, guess what? You're going to want to shut those people out. You are going to kind of push yourself further and further and further away from that. And it's your subconscious that's doing that. You don't even realize that you're pushing those people away because they are doing exactly the opposite of what you're trying to tell yourself. Okay. So now you're going to start pulling in and attracting those people because of what you now are putting out into the universe. You yourself are going to start to change. Okay. So it literally comes down to the things that you tell yourself and the way that you allow yourself to conduct on a daily basis. Like every day, if you sit on the couch, okay, like quit committing. Okay. Think about this. I just literally heard this almost right before. I'm going to try to get it right, but I always get this stuff backwards. Instead of being focused on what your goal is, focus on something that you can commit to every single day. Just start with one thing that you can commit to every single day. One thing that you can commit to every single day. Now, commit to that every single day for a week. Add one more thing that you can commit to every single day. Okay. You eventually are going to see a huge change in where you were 5 months, 6 months, 7 months ago. All right. Because you started to commit to yourself what it was that you were going to do every single day. Maybe you decided you were going to get up at 5 a.m. I don't know. That is not something I'm going to commit to. I can just tell you that right now. Okay. That's not me. Nope. No want for Amanda to wake up at 5 a.m. That is why I want my time freedom. Okay. I do not want to wake up at 5 a.m. However, I can commit to reading something before I go to bed every single night that speaks positivity to my mind. I can commit to learning something new every single day that I'm going to put into action, right? I might not be a pro at it at the beginning, but as long as I keep on doing it and I keep on trying, and I'm going to get better and better and better and better at it, right? So like the things that we're telling ourselves, I promise you guys, it's going to help you grow. It is going to help you, and it's going to help you with your storytelling. It's going to help you with your customers, with helping your customers achieve their goals, so forth, right? So I did briefly want to talk about that, like your team, reaching out to your team right now. If you don't have anybody that's working, you guys quit talking to dead air. Like reach out to them, figure out what they're doing. If they're not working, okay, move on. Move on, because all you're going to do is get super duper frustrated about speaking to people that don't want to do anything. So focus on new. Focus on what you can do, and that is control yourself, right? You can only control your attitude and your effort. Period. End of story. Your attitude and your effort. That's all you're in control of. Nobody else's. All right. Hold on. I do want to say this too, because I saved this. Educate, entertain, inspire, which you guys hear me say all the time. Okay. How can you educate people? How can you inspire them? How can you entertain them? Right? Because that's what gets people's attention. And then also, how can you promote what it is that you have, whether it's the product, whether it's the opportunity? I want you guys to start thinking about those things, right? And then you can even write it in on each day of the week. Hey, today I'm going to talk about this. Today I'm going to talk about that. Get yourself a game plan. If you're struggling with day-to-day stuff, sit down one day and say, you know what? I'm going to pull up an easy made content planner that's in Instagram or on Pinterest that gives me an idea of what it is that I can do. They're available, I promise you guys, because guess what? I literally, while I've been sitting here talking to you, just pulled up a list of 70 things that you can post about. All right. On social media, ideas to post. Says, remind people who you are and how you got started. Go behind the scenes. Share a personal story. Tell people what to sell, what you sell. Share a joke or a graphic. Like literally, it like spells it out for you. So you can pick one from the list and then just go with it. Right. And when you don't know what to do, borrow somebody else's belief. Borrow somebody else's like story and then share it. Of course, saying it's their story, right? Just like Jackie said, screenshot it, put it in your stories, whatever, or put it as a post. This is, Sarah's story. How incredible. Like I was so inspired by this because, she's been through a lot. And I know there might be somebody on my timeline that can really relate to her. And I had to share it today because
Paul is so funny. Paul Gravett, he always says this. He's like, your friends don't care about you. Like,
they don't.
Your friends don't care about your story. They don't care what you're saying. They don't care. They already have their ideas and they already know who you are. They want to see other people, right? Like
they do.
always says this. So
and you guys, it's true. It is. It's true. Your friends, chances are they're going to think that, especially if you're somebody that's kind of flaky, that kind of joins something every other week. And no offense to you if you do, because listen, maybe you haven't found your passion yet. Listen, I have literally had like 30, 40 jobs. I don't even know, probably more than that. I have, I went to beauty school. I'm an esthetician. I'm a nurse. I worked in substance abuse. I had a background in psychology. I have a sociology degree. I have a nursing degree. And hey, Amanda, you're also an author and a top network marketer, and you're this and you're that. And it's like, what do? Everything. Everything. Okay. But I make a joke of it. All right. I make a joke of it, but people also know when I say I'm going to do something, by golly, they know I'm going to do it because you're not going to tell me I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it 10 times bigger than what you thought. So borrow somebody else's belief, but share somebody else's story because that's what people are going to relate to. They don't care about you. And I promise you, your cousin or your sister, or sometimes your mom or your aunt or your teacher, they're not going to believe you, but they're going to believe that person that is very similar to them that you just shared the testimony of, that you just shared the body type that literally is what they see every morning when they look in the mirror. Okay. That's powerful. It's very powerful. And just like, guess what? Unrelatable story of how quickly I got to where I got to in this company. I'm going to pull in somebody else's story like Jackie, who didn't take off running, didn't hit her VIPs, sat on her business. But now guess what? She's in the Millionaires Club and she has a very successful team, right? So I can share how she sat on this. She was basically a glorified customer that wasn't even using the product. I mean, really, when she first joined. So share
Glorified
that.
sampler.
or yeah, glorified sampler, we'll say.
Sampler.
Because I mean, that is just the reality is there's going to be a lot of people. And last thing, because we are coming up on 10 o'clock, I'll let Jackie say anything else she wants to. You guys, if you learned something tonight, go to the post on the Dream Team training page on the original post, okay, and put something over there. I am going to do a drawing. I don't know what of yet. It depends on how actually much you guys try on putting what you learned or what you are going to put into effect. Let's say what you learned and what you're going to put into effect going forward, right? Because this is all about you guys actually being successful. What would be the point of these Zooms if something on here didn't spark your, yeah, you know what, I need to do that because I want to get to where like I am saying I want to go to. I want to accomplish things that I want to accomplish. I promise you, we're not blowing like hot air up your butt. There's a lot of people on this Zoom that are not even on my team.
3 times. I was like,
Oh, hold on.
no, 3 times.
Okay. Anybody knows I get sidetracked faster than anything as somebody starts talking. But I want you guys to really sit there and think tonight is like, what is it that you can do that you can apply to your business and sharing your story that going forward that can really help change people's minds? Do you need to, or not change people's minds, but change your business, change your customer's business, change your team's business? Like, are they doing these things? How can you help them? Like, so reach out to your customers, your previous customers, follow up with them now more than ever. Follow up with your previous promoters. Maybe they fell off. I promise tons come back, you guys. And guess what? If they don't come back and join you, they might end up canceling their account and coming back and joining somebody else because they think that you forgot about them. I don't know about you, but that would really tick me off if I looked up and I seen somebody on that I'd helped signed up with somebody else because they dropped their account because they didn't think I would help them. So go check on them, see if they would want to jump back into this, if they would be interested. If not, totally, that's fine. You're just checking in on everybody. You're seeing how they're doing. And it doesn't even have to be about this business. You shoot them a message, be like, hey, I was looking through my group today and I seen your name and I wanted to just check on you, see how you're doing. Maybe they want to get restarted, maybe not. All right. But Jackie, was there any last minute things that you wanted to say tonight?
No, I'm actually just going to share this post. I'm sharing the PDF. I'm sticking it in the Dream Team now. So it'll be up there. And then, yeah, if you guys want to like go and print that out and just, it'll help you guys like get your stories in line and stuff. And then, once you have it all written out, like I would type it out and then that way you can like change it as you need to, change it as you go. And it'll really help you guys.
Yes. And also you guys, I want to add just one thing to that. So Jackie's putting that over there. Now you guys are going to have that template. Okay. But also, don't be afraid to utilize the people's stories on the Lavelle fan page or somebody's post that you see as a template to help write your story. If your story is very similar to theirs, obviously delete their part, insert your part, and utilize that as a way for you to kind of learn how to share certain aspects of your story, of your journey. I promise it'll pay off because it's going to become easier to you as you continue to do it. But for right now, don't be afraid to like borrow somebody else's way of saying it, but take out their part, insert yours. I mean, you don't have 10 kids. All right. Maybe you do, but I'm just saying, maybe this person has 10 kids and, works in like as an astronaut, and you obviously are not an astronaut. You would look like an idiot saying that. Don't share somebody else's story as your own. Share that story as theirs if that's their story. But learn how to utilize the templates of writing your story and sharing your journey, and then teach that down to your team, because I guarantee there's somebody on your team that needed this tonight and they weren't on. So like I said, I will get the recording up ASAP. Go over to the Dream Team page, get those PDFs, the books, like I said, they're entire books. And then Jackie's PDF is now in the files of the template. And let us know on the main post from the Zoom, which has mine and Jackie's picture on it, what you took away from tonight and how you're going to utilize it going forward in your business. All right. We love you guys. Thank you for plugging in. I know tomorrow night there's going to be a Zoom on if you are stuck, stalled out, burnt out, and I got a lot to say on that. I will be a guest. So I love you all, and I hope you have a good night. Kick some major butt. Bye, guys.